Let's talk about this thing with Jerry Nadler. Bearing Arms says, did anti-gun lawmaker just screw over gun control? And the answer is yes. We should all be very happy. It's funny how these things happen, isn't it? In both Heller and Bruen decisions, one phrase keeps coming up. And the phrase is, quote, in common use, unquote. In other words, how common a gun is has a direct impact on what kind of gun control the courts will find constitutional. As a result, part of the argument against modern sporting rifles has been that they're not commonly used. Yeah, I know they're most popular firearm type in the country, with 24 million of them in the hands of American citizens. However, since they're not super common in self-defense situations, I suppose they think they're not being used. However, it seems one anti-gun lawmaker may have just hosed his entire side of the gun control debate. Representative Jerry Nadler, Democrat of New York, may be an enemy of our rights, but some enemies can actually be extremely helpful for our cause. During a markup for H.R. 1808, the assault weapons ban, that passed with the help of 2 Republicans, 5 Democrats actually voted against it. He made remarks that will come back to bite him in court. He said, quote, the problem is they're in common use. Oh, there you go. See, it's just like all this, the language matters with all this stuff, right? It's like you want to exclude this evidence, you have to specifically exclude this document, that type of thing. So with those 8 words, any competent attorney could go to the Supreme Court and secure a ruling that should kill semi-auto bans, at least in terms of constitutionality. But Nadler's damage to anti-Second Amendment extremism has the potential to be so much greater than that. Michael Kinsey once said that a gaffe was when a politician unintentionally tells the truth, or some other people. Well, in this case, that is what Nadler did. And for those understandably unwilling to trust an anti-Second Amendment extremist, just take out the latest estimate from the National Shooting Sports Foundation. If they're willing to defy the Supreme Court, like New York and California are, then they will likely just end up also making Clarence Thomas's day. The Nadler words are not the defining authority, right? By any stretch of the imagination. So just because he says it doesn't mean that. However, and it's unlikely that just on the strength of his statement, the problem is that these assault weapons are in common use. Well, that's true. They just may ignore that because that's his opinion, even though, they said, well, Thomas Jefferson in a letter once to some Baptist in Danbury, Connecticut said, there's a wall of separation between church and state. And what he meant by that, actually, even was that the wall was around the government, not around the church. But, they took that phrase out of context and they used it to shut down the free exercise of religion. And so you never know how these things are going to be used. But his point here is that, however, where Nadler's words screw his side over is that he's right. The AR-15 is the most common gun currently being sold. And so that's pretty common use right there in and of itself. And that'll play a factor in any legal proceedings. But where Nadler's comments hurt gun control, as Ammo Land's Harold Hutchinson notes, is that this is evidence that, listen, they know that these assault weapons are common use, and they simply don't care what the courts have to say about it. In other words, they know it's going to be found unconstitutional, and they want to push it through anyway. The common man. They created Common Core to dumb down our children. They created Common Pass to track and control us. Their Commons Project to make sure the commoners own nothing. And the communist future. They see the common man as simple, unsophisticated, ordinary. But each of us has worth and dignity created in the image of God. That is what we have in common. That is what they want to take away. Their most powerful weapons are isolation, deception, intimidation. They desire to know everything about us while they hide everything from us. It's time to turn that around and expose what they want to hide. Please share the information and links you'll find at thedavidknightshow.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. If you can't support us financially, please keep us in your prayers. thedavidknightshow.com.